You're listening to the Confident Shift podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Charles Gustafson. I'm a strategic marketing consultant turned certified image consultant, certified professional life coach, best-selling author, and award-winning international success mentor. I'm the creator of Hue and Style and run a life-changing internet business and online community where I teach growth-focused entrepreneurs, professionals, and community builders how to transform their self-belief and personal brand presentation into a superpower. Each episode, I share lessons, stories, and personal musings from my life as an entrepreneur, mentor, wife, and mom, all aimed at helping you see yourself differently so you can live a life filled with more intention, joy, and success. I'm glad you're here. Let's jump in. There is no better time to change the way you get dressed than right now. Adria is my special guest on this episode of A Confident Shift Conversation, and she'll tell you in this interview why that's true, why seeing yourself as who you are becoming and who you deserve to be in your life will be a gift to yourself and everyone around you, no matter what competitive industry you're in, and especially at certain times of your life when transition has taken over. The emotion in this episode caught me off guard. You'll hear that. We share a few special moments of what it means when you have someone to come alongside you that you trust so you can build new trust in yourself for what's next. Don't miss this if you've had any big change in your life, and take Adria's advice right at the end. Let's jump in. Welcome. Let's meet Adria. So Adria, first of all, tell us who you are, what you do, and who you serve with your greatness.
Aw. Well, my name is Adria Budd Johnson, and I'm a writer-producer, and I'm co-founder and president of Process Entertainment Incorporated. It's an entertainment development company that I founded with my husband, Eric Johnson. And we create moving content. Our tagline is moving people with moving pictures. And we are telling stories that matter with collaborators who we are playing with, we're solving puzzles with, and we're creating content that is solving problems for other people, giving inspiration, and telling stories that matter in a way that's meaningful and transformative for not just us, but for the audiences.
That is so amazing. And I think the one thing that Adria is an amazing example of is of a creative entrepreneur. Someone who's using their creativity, their art in the world in a purposeful way. And I know it can make you, if you're listening and you're kind of an artistic and a creative entrepreneur, it can make you sick and tired of trying to figure out how to align who you are inside with your art, creating the art, and then putting it out and then communicating that as authority. Am I right? So before Hue and Style, just think back not that long ago, you were urgent to create the kind of presence. I remember you told me, create the kind of presence that was an undeniable yes for people to work with you. What was going on and keeping you from doing that before you got it in line?
Well, not including COVID. Before that, I think I had an old image of myself, and I had a lot of limiting beliefs. Deep down stuff that maybe I wasn't even aware of. That I had ideas about how I was on top of it, but I wasn't really. And so there was some self-sabotage going on. And I wasn't showing up confident. And not really necessarily doing the work that I needed to do, because there was some worthiness issues and belief in myself, and just that I had a voice that was allowed to be heard. So
Yes.
yeah, it was a tough place to be, but you know what really changed it for me was reading your book.
Oh,
I love supporting my friends, and I love supporting the people that I know, especially when they're doing things beautiful. And I read it, and I was just looking at it this morning again. It's so special, Michelle.
Adria.
Yeah, it's so special. And I'm so thrilled that you did that and you made it and you shared it with the world, because that's part of what inspires me every time I do this work, is that you took the beauty of all those wonderful lessons from your dad and you cherished him, and here we are, and it's so special. So sorry I didn't even get to so good.
What is happening right now? Why are my eyes wet?
Yeah,
For
this
those
is a long
listening.
process, because I read that book and it was 2 years until we started talking about whether I was gonna, you
Work
know,
together. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, and so many juicy things you said there.
yeah,
First of all, the part about what you think about yourself.
oh yeah,
And out in the world of the internet and the things and the personal development fields, everybody knows or has heard limiting beliefs, but
mhm,
people don't really know what those are and what those keep you from. Those tapes, those confidence tapes, there's always a tape that's
yeah,
playing. And it's not until we turn down the volume of that tape that you can actually introduce those things that were in the book, but also the work that you did through it, and that where you find the bravery around that. So you said that you were not showing up and you were being invisible. What did that look like day to day, Adria? Like, how did that appear in your image? What was your behavior around that was run by those limiting beliefs?
I think it was really subtle.
Hmm.
Because I had some great clothes, some great outfits. People always said to me, "Oh, you look really polished," and like, "Oh, that's a great. I love what you're wearing," or whatever. But it didn't. I wasn't closing the deal. I wasn't getting the yeses, and I was tired, and I
Mm.
was tired of banging my head against the wall the same way over and over. And I needed a change, and I needed to do things differently. And it literally was a confidence shift, because there's still a number of the pieces that I have in my wardrobe that I put on, and people are like, "Oh, is that new?" And I'm like, "Well," you know. So it's about how I show up.
Yes. And you hit a very important part, because we always talk about in these conversations that women out there are sitting out there, they're watching this thing or they're hearing it, and they're like, well, whatever, it's clothes. Like, we all know that, like, when you like the whole old thing where it says dress better, feel better. Like, we know that,
Yeah.
Michelle. Like, it's fine. Like, that's why I have like pieces and like fashion, because I'm gonna feel fine. But you are talking about a different connection. And the
Hmm.
connection is the symbolism around the clothes.
Yeah.
And that when the symbolism around the clothes changes, it becomes a new garment. But most people don't know how to change that symbolism. So that person being like, oh, like, is this a new outfit? No, it's just a new Adria in the outfit.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
And I know in an industry like yours that is super competitive, super like, it's close, it's tight, but competitive. And
Yeah.
you're surrounded by like those style forces,
Yeah.
like wardrobe style and all the things. When did you make the connection that this was more than the clothes? And when did you see the outside world mirror that back to you? That confidence piece, that shift around how you presented yourself?
Uh, it was when I got my so what factor. And then I was like, "Oh, what am I in for?" I mean, the fact that, there was a lot of questions going into am I ready for this program and working with you? Like, I was like, oh, this is more than close. And this is exactly what I need.
Yes. And
Yeah.
just for the benefit of the people listening, what she spoke about as a so what factor, this is the magic behind the Hue and Style process, because it is like people will talk about personal branding and everything. This is the personal brand mission statement that doesn't address just how you show up for your career or your business or what your style is. It is how you show up for your life.
Yeah.
And that's not something that people have walking around with generally.
Oh,
And it is a statement of how and why you are in the world with the talents and the gifts that you have.
yeah.
And so, it's funny because people are like, oh, Michelle, you're a stylist. Why? Because now the first time you did your So What Factor, you knew, well, even in our call, the very first call, you knew that this was more than clothes.
Yeah.
But how did that statement, crafted in this process, change how you got dressed so that you could be addressed differently?
Well, there's so many tools, but all of those put together gave me the clarity to be able to communicate. Who am I meeting with? Who is my audience, whether it's a one-on-one or a panel or a networking evening, which I'm about to do a lot of those at TIFF. So it's, who are these people? How do I communicate with them, draw them in, and then weave my magic
Yes.
and get those yeses? Like, so
Yes.
I can say, well, yeah, how do I feel today? What do I need to communicate? What am I trying to achieve? Who am I talking to? All those elements, and put them together in a package that is that undeniable yes. And and it's more than just getting a yes from one person. It's that, the zhuzh that you put out in the universe, and the way that things have started changing has been potent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And this is something that I actually was speaking to a woman yesterday, and I said, she's like, not sure. I'm like, you can't understand the potency of intention.
Yeah.
That when you place your intention, that personal brand statement, on every way someone experiences you, every way you communicate, every way they see you, you will get what you desire. It's happened to every single one of the Hue and Style women. And what is amazing about that is that then that's the thing that builds more momentum for the things that you want to do. And I always share that Hue and Style is about the art, the science, and the psychology and the symbolism
Yeah.
of the dressing. And you spoke about that every way you communicate. So knowing that you get tools, because you spoke about tools that we get.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're called Hue and Style and all the things, but like you get lots of tools to be able to create this communication. What is your favorite Hue and Style tool that you use to communicate?
Ooh. That's so tricky. I think the one that's been the most resonant and most transformative is my so what factor.
Mm. The
Like,
why.
because it's bright and colorful and magical all on its own. Like, it's not just words, people, and I'm literally talking about it's not just words, but it has laid this groundwork for me, reading it every day, multiple times a day, rereading it, writing it down, writing it out, thinking about the implications, talking about it with my husband in our weekly business meetings. And the purposefulness that I live my life with is, frustration was my word for a long time, because I felt like I was spinning my wheels. And I am so full of purpose, it's spilling out like a water feature. Like
Adria's my metaphor girl every time, and I love it. Spilling. So picture that, people, spilling out like a fountain of
like a fountain.
purpose.
Yeah.
When did you last feel that? And the thing is that as we move through life, especially women, as we age, we have 8 million jobs and a million different roles, and we make a gazillion different decisions every day. And then change happens. And you mentioned COVID, and we all had to question what we were doing in our lives. And we all had to, and then teenagers are growing up, and then the thing, and we are under the pressure cooker of change. And when you get to that point where you are buried under change, purpose goes away.
Yeah.
And that's where the spinning happens.
Yep.
The frustration happens. And then you can't see yourself until you get a fountain of new purpose.
Yeah.
And then you put that on the outside. And I'm like, I know that So What Factor is the first thing that we do because it sets the stage, and then it becomes the communication piece. And then we do our color, and then we use style to communicate the values of that So What Factor to your audiences. Tell the people when you started to notice the win, when you got these things aligned: purpose, communication, personal branding, dressing, presenting. When did you notice the wins?
I would get like glimmers here and there. So it wasn't like nothing for a long time. There was like little, like, oh, and I started to feel better and felt more confident. But it was definitely in the spring when I started to see the magic stuff happen. And it was like I was building and building and building and building, and then I could see what I was building. It was definitely in the spring, and just I wish I could think of a specific moment. There's been so many amazing. Well, I think this summer when I realized that something that seemed like a huge loss professionally ended up being profoundly beautiful and a gift, and it was a gift to myself to let that particular project go, and a gift to my partners and all my partners, including my husband and the partners on that project. And I think it was that realizing that I trusted myself enough to know that I was gonna blossom in that moment.
Yes.
Out of that loss. Yeah.
And I know that finding self-trust has been a huge upside to this process. What does self-trust mean to you now that you are on the other side?
It's all tied in with self-worth, self-trust. And for me, I realized that it takes a little while. It's like, if someone in your life lets you down, then it takes a little bit of time before you feel like you can trust them. Well, it's the same inside, right? And it's like, I let myself down a lot. I didn't put on my own mask and tried to help other people, and then couldn't do it because I wasn't taking care of myself. And so, being able to do that and then do it over and over and over again, then it's like, oh, wait, I'm worthy. I trust you. You're doing this over and over again. So then it's like, well, what else can we do?
And that's what people miss when they think of Hue and Style.
Yeah.
Because what you can't know when you're not a Hue and Style woman is that every day you are training yourself to trust yourself.
Yeah.
Because is that in my palette? No. Okay, I say no to that. Yeah. Is that right for my body? Okay, no. I pass that by. You learn the art of discernment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which then becomes self-trust, which then allows you to feel good. And then the more you feel good and you do it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then you get to trust yourself on the bigger and the bigger and the better and the better until you start winning awards,
Yeah. Yes.
Adria, for films and
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people
That's
start
been fun.
seeing you, right? That's a
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
She forgets. And this actually happens because women, Hue and Style women too, we forget how much we've won because they start to stack and they
Yes.
feel so good. You get used to them feeling good that it's not an anomaly that you win.
Yeah.
It's not an anomaly.
Yeah.
I wish every woman could feel what's not an anomaly to win. So you've experienced the wins since getting this connection right, the new visibility, the winning of the things, all the things. Um, and we celebrate that in our communities. But I think women want to know that it's possible for them. And they're probably sitting there going, that's really nice for her. Oh,
Mm.
I'm so glad that Adria did all that. But I'm not really sure about me. I'm stuck. Can I really get out of my own head? I
Yeah.
don't know if I can make that step. And I know that in this interview, we used the word blossoming. That was your word. Because I
Yeah.
always ask what the word you want to use. Why did you choose that word, Adria?
I feel like when I committed to working with you and you committed to me, it was
Mm,
a thing.
always. I
um, I was down in the dirt, working in the dirt. I love gardening. Um,
hmm,
and you shared a picture on one of the calls of like the roots. Um, but even though there's roots, doesn't mean that you can see what's happening. And I was putting down some deep roots, deep, wide roots, because I got something coming up now out of the earth that's growing strong and tall and true. And I needed those roots to be there first. So this work is ongoing. Bless you for keeping the like we have a dashboard and a portal, so all of our lessons are there. We can go back and revisit anything that sometimes all you hear is wah 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 because you're
Charlie
not
Brown
ready,
teacher. Charlie
but
Brown
you can
teacher.
go back. I know, but you can go back and be like, oh, that's what she was talking about. Because then you're in a new place with a new perspective and a new understanding. I built up trust. I could go back and say, oh, that's what those belief tables were about. Because I didn't necessarily understand that. And now I've gotten to the point that, like, the quick thing, how you can make your bed in the morning and you feel accomplished because you made your bed. Well, now getting dressed is the first creative thing I do in the morning. And it's like, who am I seeing today? How am I, even if it's just my neighbors in the courtyard here in our building, because I work from home, it's how do I want to show up for them? How do I want to be present? How do I want to see myself in the mirror? Yeah. So it's my first creative act of the day. And it's a
Mhm.
little something that's like color and brightness. And even if it's just for me, even if I don't leave the house, it's
In fact,
something that brings me joy.
yes, and even in fact, the most important
Yeah.
to see yourself because as you use your tools, everything you put on your body is filled with the symbolism of that personal mission statement. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you didn't leave the house. It doesn't even matter if the neighbor saw you. You applied your confidence and your intention and your purpose to your body. And then you looked at it in the mirror before you made your coffee.
Yeah.
And that's something that no regular just style and put on a shirt can do. It
Yeah.
has to be attached to the symbolism. You are a true Hue and Style woman, Adria. I'm so proud of what you give. I'm proud of what you've committed in the work to see yourself. And women, that's a commitment. It's not just, I feel like it. Commitments require discipline. And you've made that commitment. And as that commitment becomes a powerful force about how you are the heart of every project that you do, and that you build those enduring stories, and that people see you. I say that the ultimate goal of mine for every Hue and Style women is to be fearless, magnetic,
Mhm.
a leader, ready to serve, and a walking commercial for what you do. And you are.
Oh,
Now tell the women who are sitting there and going, that's nice for her. What can you tell women who are navigating this time of their life where they need a redefinition, they need a reclaiming of their own relevance even in their life? They're in a highly competitive industry like you are. They are pushing through a season trying to figure out, how do I just get my mojo back?
yeah,
What can you tell them
yeah.
about finding their way?
You are worth it. You have a duty. You are here and you have something to share and you have to do it. That is why you are alive. Yeah.
So for those listening, our eyes are wet because that's why that's why I do what I do, is that, Adria. And for you to mirror it back in your life because you are living it. You can't mirror
Yeah.
something that you don't own, which
Yeah.
means you are living it, means I've lived it too.
Yes, you have. And so can you. Believe it, because
It's what you're meant to do.
yeah. I wish I had a
And
before picture, but it'd be like, in Little Mermaid, in the hall of like fortunate the lost unfortunate
unfortunate
souls.
souls. I know, right?
That
That's
was
how I
me.
feel about what I do. I'm like, there's a hall of unfortunate souls,
Yeah.
and I can't, and we capture them up in mentorship.
Yeah. That was me.
Oh, don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, poor unfortunate
It's
souls.
so
Okay. No copyright. No copyright. Okay. Oh my.
yeah.
And you know what? The souls don't have to be unfortunate, but it takes a decision.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does. It really does. And a decision to go on the journey. And I always say to the women too that that decision to go on the journey will always, always, always be inconvenient to your life right now and
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. Yeah. Yeah. And what's something that has come up a lot for me recently is every uncomfortable thing that happens that comes up. I broke my foot like 3 weeks ago. It's almost 4 weeks ago. Broke my foot. You know what that was? That was an opportunity, right?
Yes.
So all the stuff that's past, that's happened, the thing that just fell apart, it's an opportunity to show up and do things differently.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I couldn't have. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
Ladies, this was Adria. And with wet eyes, both of us. It's okay.
Yeah.
As in tears, there's truth.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
It's true.
And there's truth here for you. Because if you're still listening, there is truth here for you. It's asking you, it's challenging you, it's encouraging you to find the new truth in you. And so, Adria, I want to say thank you for sharing your heart today,
Yeah.
your truth. You have, without knowing, helped someone else discover herself. You may not know her, you may not ever come into contact with her, but you have helped her. And ladies and gentlemen, if Adria's story has stirred you or moved you, you can discover more at hueandstyle.com. You can tune into my podcast called Confident Shift, where I take you through bite-sized, super bingeable episodes. And it's about changing the way you see yourself, image, confidence, success, so that you can live with more joy and fulfillment. You can be the fountain of purpose in your life. Because as in Adria's words, that's what you're here to do.
Yeah.
Simply. So explore. So now I hope you have a wonderful day, letting every word that you've heard today settle in to those new cracks, because it is the glue of new possibilities and pieces together who you are. And all you have to do is say yes to using it. So, Adria, any last words for our folks?
Yeah, say yes to you and say yes to using it, because it's that simple.
Beautiful. Take care for now.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. I know you can tell that I believe that a strategic image and a confidence mindset is something everyone who wants to make an impact needs. A shift in confidence can change your life. Using my degree in marketing strategy, expertise in personal branding, and my creative self-development process, I've helped thousands shift their confidence, starting with how they see themselves in the mirror, in my signature Hue and Style mentorship program. You can explore my book, Show Up Confident, explore how I work with my clients, and see their amazing results and breakthroughs too. It's all at hueandstyle.com. Join the community and start to see how making the image, mindset, success connection can create a breakthrough in your life too. I can't wait to see you there. Bye for now.